Hello, I'm going to explain how to set up your digital portfolio, which is something that you guys will need to do. So if you go to classwork and then scroll down to where it says digital portfolio, career portfolio assignment, I'm just going to kind of read through it with you to make sure you understand. So you guys have been in other classes and we didn't start this until this year. It is a standard though that we do some sort of a portfolio, either digital or physical. So we chose digital because then students can just add to it as they take the different classes. Of course, you have not done it already, so this will be your first tab that you'll do. But if you just go through this, it's pretty self-explanatory, but I'm still going to read it with you. So purpose, just talking about your learning process, knowledge, mastery of content, and then in the end, you can basically have this portfolio that you could show a potential maybe internship site or a supervisor, college, things like that. So the portfolio is going to showcase different types of work, and then this has examples of artifacts. Anytime there's blue and underlined, there's a link. So it should be examples of your own work, not things you find on Google. It could be, a screenshot of your spreadsheet or even a link to your spreadsheet that you did for costing. It could be a picture of you meeting with a client or an event you did. Just look at the standards to know what you need to do. So you'll have a reflection that goes with your artifact. So your artifact is some sort of a picture of something, and then your reflection goes with it. It needs to be at least 2 sentences, and it's going to show how the artifact demonstrates your achievement. So I'll show you some examples of that here in a minute. Make sure it's in your own words. Copy and pasted from another website doesn't work. So class competency here, if you need to look there, you can. So to create your Google site, you're going to copy the skeleton page. So I also have a video of how to do this, and that's me again, and you can watch exactly how to do it. It tells you how to make the copy and all that jazz. So what I'm going to do is on here on our stream, I will share the editable one. Just make sure you do not edit, okay? And it tells you on that. So I'll share that on our stream. Your homepage is going to be about you. It should be a picture of something that represents you. And then it should have your school, your job experience, future plans. It does not have to be related to this industry. It could be anything. These will show skills that you could use in almost any career. So as you're uploading them, you'll have them added to the subpages, and I'm going to show you an example here in just a minute. And then as you work, Google will save your changes. Don't forget, if you don't hit publish, then I won't be able to see it. So if you don't hit publish, it's like carrying around your finished assignment in your backpack and not turning it in. You have to make sure you hit publish, okay? There's an example of how to do it in the video. Do not just send me a link that you copied from up here. There's an example here. So if you had previously created a portfolio site, you would just add to it, but I don't believe any of you guys have been in class yet this year, which is when we started it. So I'm going to go through these examples here, but if you scroll down, you get to event planning and management. These are the things that we are supposed to do in this class, and then that is what is on our site. So let me take you to our site. To find it, you're going to type in new Google Sites. Once you have yours, you'll go to new Google Sites, and then you will find yours. This is not how you make the copy. This is just how you get to yours once you're done with it. So here, I'm going to go to Pool Culinary Portfolio. And then this is what it looks like, unpublished. So if you go over here and you go to Event Planning and Management, then you have what we've changed it to. So I've taken all of the, I've taken all of the, I'm sure you guys are laughing at me right now. I have taken all of these standards and I have narrowed them down to things that maybe make a little bit more sense. So they're still included in here, but goodness gracious, they're still included in here, but not so many words. So you can see over here what our words are of all the things that you're supposed to do. So I narrowed that down a little bit to procedures could have maybe your BEO or your invoice. It would have something that would be like a procedure of how to get somewhere, or to a final event, or it could even be, your event safety thing. Quality service would be, of course, customer service, so maybe contacting customers, things like that. Management of an event, You could choose anything that shows that you know how to manage an event. Career readiness, so that could be the career assignment that you did, or you could just show any of the skills that you've demonstrated, how they demonstrate career readiness. So it could be, you know, conversation between you and a client that you have on your email or something. And then student plan event. So your event, you will have some pictures of that on there. I'm guessing for this class, you could do a lot more than 2 sentences. So part of it, let's go back here. And if we scroll up, we'll get to our rubric. It's also right there. But if we scroll up, we get to our rubric. And here it is. Site design, it should look professional. It should not look like this. So you can go here to themes and you can change the color, you can change the background. And then once you get on the pages, then you'll also change like the header. You'll change the, you know, picture or whatever behind it. Please do not put your personal pictures back there in terms of like a picture of your costing sheet as the header background, because they're more difficult to see. It should look more like a theme than anything else. Okay, so that's site design. And they've changed it. Homepage, that it has all the required elements, and then each individual competency gets its own 6 points, and this will go into your like project grade. So the kind of like a test. So it'll have selection of artifacts. Your artifacts will be pictures, and that they are related to the reflection. So these two things go together. They clearly are linked, and I will show you some examples. Gosh, I'm sure you guys are laughing at me today. This is like being live with me because I am all over the place. Okay, I'm back on career portfolio assignment directions. And if you look at this, Mrs. Mann's made a pretty good example that I would like you to look at with me. So if you go to here, for example, so if these were her own pictures and video, this would be great. So her standard is sewing machine. So in, you know, FAID 1 essentials, you would need to know these things. So it's like basically what should you leave that class with? You would need to know these things. So she has a video and you can watch. So let's pretend that she made this video. And then that shows how to thread the machine. So she would have made that. And then here's a picture of how to thread it. And then her sentences clearly reflect what she's talking about up here. So threading properly is essential to quality sewing. You guys know I have no idea what I'm talking about with sewing, so I just read what she said, but it looks great. Most problems can be solved by taking the thread off the machine and rethreading it properly. The thread on the top should look like a capital N. That's a great tip. The bobbin thread should always spin clockwise. So those are 2 tips that she would need to remember, you know, for her next class or be able to point out to someone. So that is an example of one, like I said. So she has her example there. And then there's also an example of a home page here. This is the picture that they have that is representing them. Then they can also, like I said, there's a video tutorial, and then this is just examples of what artifacts could be. So different ideas for artifacts. So like they have pictures of their pictures, for example. But this is kind of like what yours will look like, you know. So then they have this, and then they have the information down below. Okay, so you guys are going to make this, and then throughout the semester you're going to add to it. And as you add to it, at the end, you are going to share it with me. To share it with me, make sure that we hit publish, and then there, publish. And then the published version will of course look different, and the published version is what you are going to share with me, assuming your share settings are on correctly. So, has been viewed have published successfully, goodness. And then here is my actual site. So if I go over here and I change it to, let's say, I mean, you know, I was going to change it to purple, right? And then let's change that. Okay, so there, large banner. So normally on Google, when I do that and I go over here and I go to procedures, the change would be reflected, but not here. You have to hit publish again. And then once that works, oh good, an error occurred. Anyway, after I hit publish, assuming an error does not occur, then I can go over here and I can refresh, and then that page would be there. So I'm not sure why an error is occurring, but you could see that that change was not reflected. So I have to hit publish. Okay, so make sure you give yourself a little extra time in case an error occurs. So I would be able to go over there and see that change. So like I said, this should be a pretty easy one for you guys. It's all the things that you're doing. You're just putting them into one place to show someone, namely me and potentially someone else, what you can do. And then students will add to this over time as they're in the pathway. That's it. Let me know if you have any questions.